Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews. It's a late night video for Robot X Laser Chapter 1 or Robot X Laserbeam Chapter 1. Normally I don't do videos too late because I normally end up doing overtime or working on a Saturday. That isn't the case today. I still need to be up relatively early, but not as early as normal, as I've got car insurance to sort out, training, personal issues and chores, shopping and whatnot to sort out. Anyway, we're talking about Robo X Laserbeam from the creator of Kurorko No Basket. Again, another sports type of story based around golf. Albeit basketball is a more interesting kind of sport, but let's just see what you can do with it, and let's get into it. So let's kind of cover what it's about. So it's all about the idea of golf. Golf is picking up in terms of popularity. It may be something that's more popular or building in Japan, although I'm not necessarily all that familiar with it. I've watched Tiger Woods occasionally, Rory McIlroy. I've watched the Adam Sandler movie Happy Gilmore, so I'm somewhat aware of it, but not necessarily to the point where I could tell you what each thing's mean. And I played crazy golf, for example, but that's about it. So with that being said, it is a bit of a niche market in compared to other sports like a Haikyuu, for example, a lot of Kurorko No Basket, and these other sports related manga are in more popular sports, even to the extent, I guess, of Inamaru. With that being said, though, it's manga. I enjoy Kurorko No Basket. I will definitely give this a try. But let's have a look at the key kind of things here. So we'll first of all talk about the characters, and then I'll talk about things to kind of bear in mind, and we'll go over a few things that are covered. So the main character is called Roboto Hotaharu. He's basically a plain-faced individual, kind of studyish, analytical, very methodical, very plain-faced, and even somewhat nerdy to social interaction. Somewhat to the certain degree that they call him a stiff, and he's been given the nickname Robo because he doesn't really interact well. So he's got a very standardized response, and so basically people think he's weird and a robot. To the extent where he didn't even realize that he was getting bullied at a certain point, but he just cracked on, didn't really bother him. He's got a friend in his class called Tomoyu Nakata, and he's a classmate, a friend, and a person who plays golf. The rival, so to speak, is that in this is a guy called Youzan Miura. He's a prodigy in high school. He started playing golf when he was in middle school, and he's already on the side going on the pro circuit, even though technically he's an amateur. With that being said, Robo has not really got any interest in golf from a, I guess, sports and athletic kind of capacity. He's more about the theory, so as it starts he's not really interested at all. Now we've also got a character called Shintaro. Shintaro is a club captain of the golf team, so he's interacting with Tomoya Nakata, and by extension through that Robo as well. So them are the main characters so far. There's a few characters that try to bully the characters, and we'll talk about them in a second, but these are the key components so far that's been introduced. Now, key terms that we've been introduced to: drives and shots are basically anything to do with golf, the swinging, as you know, of the club, hitting the ball, the shot, the distance it goes. They all refer to as drives. You do have different types of clubs that you will use depending on the type of drive, pitch, action, movement that you want from your club. We haven't really got into that so much in the actual manga so far, so I won't worry about that. And the idea of a 300-yard drive is a big deal, which is about 270 meters or so. There's a certain kind of thing they talk about in terms of the sound of the shot, kind of like a sweet spot. If you hit it perfectly, it makes a type of sound that kind of, it's your technique, and it's something that's quite hard to do. And the kind of ever perfect technique is the impossible straight shot. The idea is every time you hit a ball, there will be a degree of spin and swerve because of the nature of the ball, the way you hit it, wind and everything like that. So the perfect stride and trajectory is what everyone aims for, and that's the key thing that Robo can do through his laser beam that makes him interesting. So them are the key things of that. That's the facts, the terms out the way. What happens in this chapter? So we know that we get introduced to Robo. He's been a stiff. They took him out karaoke and the people found him weird. His mate tries to get him into golf, he's not interested. He goes, I don't understand the point of competing. But then he ends up going with his friend to a driving range to practice. And his friend's not very good at it. He gets a new golf club that he hasn't even gone to the idea of looking at what he needs, and it's like an intermediate one, I believe, or you need much practice with it, and he can't get it right. So what happens is these people turn up and they bully him. Essentially, they harass him, saying, "Oh, you crap, don't even bother." And then they hit the ball with one of the guys hits the balls with it, and it curves, and he gets into like a zone which is either 150 yard or 150 meter zone. And he's like very proud of himself and everything else. But to the character who's basing ideas on the theory of hitting it very straight, he's thinking, what was the point of that? If you've curved it, you're not very good as well. So this sets up this challenge, and he goes, you've got 10 balls, you need to get it in the zone in the first go. And bearing in mind he's barely played, he essentially hits it with perfect technique, with perfect posture and swing, which surprises not only the captain but everybody else there. He hits it perfectly, but the first time he hits it over the zone, so he even hits it better than initially anticipated. The second time he hits it too short, again very straight, a laser beam type of thing, really straight. It's just short. Then from there he proceeds to hit 7 shots, all in the zone, all very straight, all very perfectly. And at the end of that, the 10th go, he hits it a hole in one. So in 10 goes, not only does he hit perfect shots, and he gets it in the zone like 7 times, 8 times more than, well, he was expected to, but he even gets a hole in one in his first real time of playing. Now on the flip side to this, we kind of see this from 2 different ways. We also see that by chance Youzan Miura is actually practicing in the same place, just on a higher floor, and the hits that are actually being hit, he actually hears it all. So he's actually, now it's weird because what we see from this character and what we see from what's going on is slightly different because of the zone differences, which leads me to believe there may be another character involved, but they have played this kind of chapter as they're going to be rivals in the future. But if you go understanding that it's Robo that we're talking about, he hears the hitting of the balls consecutively, and it shows at least 6 or 7 balls hit consecutively, hitting that sweet spot. Now this throws him off because he can only do it once in a while. So for someone to hit it that clean, that often, that precisely, that person has monstrous talent. So he's looking for this guy. He's a prodigy himself. He's looking for this guy who's got this talent, and this is going to set up their, I guess, interaction or meeting. Or is this just to throw us off and there's another person as well that's going to be a rival? We don't know just yet, but the assumption is made that them two are going to be rivals. There's going to be a collision course. Are they going to be friends? Are they going to be enemies? Are they going to be rivals? We'll have to wait and see for chapter 2 and 3, and then how the season progresses from there. As always, with it being very early, there's no point making a judgment on it. There's no point even getting excited about it or even getting pessimistic about it. Let's see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will leave my Twitter link in the comment section below, so description section below. By all means, follow. I'd greatly appreciate that, and I'll see you next time.